Stan usually comes to mind when you think of hypocrites in American Dad, but people tend to forget that Hayley is just as much of a hypocrite, if not more. She's got her strong beliefs, but tends to flip-flop on them when it's convenient to her. So let's break down some of Hayley's most ridiculous hypocritical moments, starting off with Camp Refugee. In Season 2, Episode 1, Camp Refugee, Steve accidentally ends up in a refugee camp. Trying to get him back, Stan flies over to Africa, where Hayley also tags along to help the refugees.
Okay, Bono, settle down.
After finding out that she will be staying there for a while, she switches sides and goes to chill in the UN aid building. Instead, Hayley had little screen time in this episode, but oh does her hypocrisy show. She switches up on the refugees she was supposed to be helping and would rather protest from the comfort of the embassy. She even states that she threw away more food than what she ate. Mind you, the refugees outside have been starving and deprived of water this whole time. Moving on to the animal-loving vegetarian. One of Hayley's biggest claim is that she's a vegetarian. She loves animals and wants to protect them and won't hesitate to shame anyone at the dinner table for enjoying meat. But what happens when Hayley's love for animals gets tested? In Season 11, Episode 4, NSA, No Snoops Allowed, Hayley accidentally eats veal. And after betraying her values, she ends up going on a 24-hour meat-eating binge with Roger, where she satisfies her deepest food cravings. Yeah, it gets so intense, she even says she'll eat an endangered gorilla brain who knows sign language, and of course, unhinged Roger supports her in this.
But I do know a guy.
Her behavior demonstrates how she uses her vegetarianism as more of a moral high ground than deeply rooted belief, considering how quickly she abandons it when temptation arises. Ultimately, this episode reinforces the theme of Hayley's double standard. While she advocates for compassion and ethical living, her actions suggest that her commitment only holds up when it's convenient to her. The social activist. In Season 10, Episode 4, Hayley decides to dye her hair blonde after people ignore her for being a boring brunette.
Come on, Hayley. Everyone knows blondes get more attention. Scientists have proven it. But their research was ignored because they were boring brown-haired scientists.
However, her plans take an ironic turn when her new look gains her entry into social circles of wealthy, environmentally indifferent millionaires. Instead of advocating for her causes, Hayley ends up getting swept away by her lavish lifestyle, partying and engaging in behavior that are directly counter to her values. This episode highlights Hayley's tendency to abandon her values when she finds herself in a position of personal gain. This part of Hayley rarely gets called out. Her willingness to compromise her beliefs when it benefits her personally. By taking private jets, partying with DJ Iron Monkey, and indulging in a lifestyle fueled by SS, she completely contradicts her outspoken advocacy for environmental sustainability and social responsibility. Instead of calling out the behavior she claims to despise, she becomes a part of them, showing how easily her principles can crumble when faced with luxury and status. Even though Hayley does eventually come to her senses by the end of the episode, the damage is already done. Her moment of clarity doesn't erase the fact that she prioritized personal enjoyment over her activism. It's a clear example of how her commitment to her belief is sometimes surface level, fading away when it clashes with her desires for excitement and acceptance. One fish, two fish. In One Fish, Two Fish, Hayley takes a self-assigned mission to help Klaus obtain US citizenship, partly motivated by her desire to prove she cares about others. She was called out by Danuta on her fake activism work.
You aren't saving animals. You're at a cool casual dining spot. You don't care about anyone but yourself.
Hayley, of course, takes offense and decides she'll prove Danuta wrong by doing something selfless for Klaus. But as you can guess, she doesn't do it just to help Klaus, but mostly to save her own ego and prove a point. To commit to this, Hayley goes as far as becoming a fish herself, marrying Klaus in some attempt to get him citizenship.
I'll let you two lovebirds talk.
But things go sideways and both Hayley and Klaus end up deported to Mexico. Here's where the hypocrisy gets even clearer. Hayley starts whining about how miserable she is in her fish body, while Klaus has adapted and actually tries to make the best of it. Klaus, being more selfless, decides to sneak both of them back into the US, but ends up in a desert in the middle of nowhere. Here she realizes her attempt to aid Klaus was less about genuine care and more about proving Danuta wrong, highlighting her false virtue in a humorous yet telling reconciling way, the closed-minded open-minded. Hayley Smith is portrayed as an idealistic and self-proclaimed open-minded hippie, but her action often contradicts her beliefs, making her a complex and hypocritical character. But she often doesn't notice when she does the same thing she hates. She says she's for peace and equality, but sometimes her actions are selfish and judgmental. For example, the time she put down her own mom and compared her to other successful women. In season 1, episode 21, Helping Handies, Hayley made a video pretty much belittling Francine and her achievements. And yeah, compared to other women, Francine really hasn't done much, but at the end of the day, she is a respectable housewife who takes care of the kids and the house. This might not seem like a big accomplishment to some, but people tend to forget that housewives are the backbone of society. They are responsible for teaching the next generation and making sure everything runs smoothly in their household. But Hayley doesn't seem to care. To her, you are only a powerful woman when you have big accomplishments, like being a CEO, for example. Another example is the countless times she argues with Stan over his conservative views. And I get it, Stan's conservative views can be frustrating, but Hayley's constant hate for anything he believes in isn't exactly the open-minded approach she preaches. What's your take on Hayley's hypocrisy? Do you think it makes her more relatable or a less likable character? Comment down below on your thoughts. Well, there you have it. 5 times Hayley hypocrisy was displayed on full blast. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell notification button for future videos. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.